Before the world sees your wins, your soul has to feel your work. It's the reps nobody applauds that produce the wins that do, all through a shifting of your identity into a dominator. This is all done in the dark every single day. So let me be your guide as I welcome you to this episode of the Dark Work Daily. Hello, welcome to Hump Day. Today's episode has to do with an idea. Well, they're all ideas, right? It's an idea that has to do with really how you have these unconscious statements you make about yourself. The idea that your comfort zone has a name. And it's going to sound interesting as we go through it, but I promise it'll make sense. I also want to introduce you to something that at one point I introduced, but I'm reintroducing it, called a Dark Work Day book. Now, this is going to be for you right now, anything that it becomes a book. Back in the day, that there was a day book, and a day book essentially was the daily accounting, right? You make deposits, you could, know what's in there, and then at some point, you know what you could withdraw. And the idea is the Dark Work Day book is you tracking daily a simple note, an idea, some concept that allows you to be able to make that daily deposit. And then what we'll end up doing is I'll create, actually pretty soon as a goal, a custom Dark Work Day book that you can actually get from us and we'll send to you. And it's just essentially a custom dark work book that'll be something you can actually make deposits in every single day that you get to see the work you've done, right? There's something to the idea of seeing the progress, seeing the growth like tangibly in front of you. It's one thing to think through things. It's one to take it from an idea to write it down and make it real in the world. And when you make something real in the world, it changes. It changes you. It changes what your functionalities. It changes your life in time. So the Dark Work Day book will be something where I'm going to start having you, we'll call it a call to action every day. Make an entry into your Dark Work Day book and then share that inside the Dark Work community. I myself would love to see how things progress for you, to see how things flow for you, because this should not be just a simple idea. I'm not leading an idea. I'm leading people. And people have the ability to create and to change and to move. And I want to lead you in a direction where you actually have something you can look tangibly at your life and go, something changed. What that nuance was maybe just an entry into a day book every single day, making something real, an idea real, it tangibly on paper. And then at some point you take action on it to change your life for real. But I want to have that be the thought we kind of intro with, and I'm going to give you as an end of our day today, just an idea to kind of make an entry into that and then share in the community. And if you don't have access to the app yet, get access to the app. That's where the community exists. Now, today's concept has to do with the comfort zone that we don't realize we're living in. Me, for one, I had these thoughts as a kid where I was like, I can't do much and I'm not supposed to have very much. It was a running concept. I've actually got to the point in time where over the years I've found that I say and used to say things that were inherently negative, inherently setting myself up to be unsuccessful and inherently keeping me stuck inside of a small comfort zone. See, the idea is that if you have something you're used to doing, it's comfortable. And then when you function in a way and operate in a way with your mental paradigms, the way you make decisions, how you execute or don't execute, those things become the things that create your life, right? How you see the world and what decisions you make that lead to actions create the world you live in. And what happens is you unknowingly, unconsciously sometimes are making statements that create a sense of an existence that you don't want to live in the first place. So you sometimes are creating the walls that are the barriers of the life you're living. And you don't want those walls and those fences there. We got to change those things. And how it looks is this. For me, I remember I used to say, I don't want to be famous and everybody see me. I don't want to be a guy that has a whole bunch of extra money. It's very weird to say it like that, but I used to have these thoughts, right? And it wasn't that I want to be famous, and I don't want to be famous now, but the idea that I don't want to be known for something was a hindrance to me being known for something that could change the world. On top of that, my thought back in the day was like, I don't need to have money, and I wouldn't pursue money because it was a thought I had. It was a comfort zone, right? But the problem is I don't have money. I can't have freedom and peace to create. I have no way to give back in the way that I want to give back, to serve at a high level, to donate when I want to give to my church, to give to my friends, to give to my family, to be able to have freedom and peace, to create ideas, to give back to the world, ideas that can change lives. So at some point I had to realize that, man, these conversations that we have with ourselves are the comfort zone. To say I'm bad with money, or to say I'm not the type to speak up, or, I don't do those kind of things. I'm not a tech person. Whatever those language points are, you will speak something into existence. And what we as humans do is live life in a way to make our statements right. If you say I'm stupid, what you'll end up doing is going into situations and having moments where you actually set yourself up to be able to go say, hey, look, see that I told you I'm stupid. Told you I'm not smart, so we won't put ourselves in situations to learn. We won't step into spots where we'll actually educate ourselves and show up and flex our mental muscles. So what ends up happening is you live your life in a way to make those statements right. If you say, nobody likes me, but then you go out into the world and you live in a crappy way where you're being rude to people and then no one likes you, can go, see, nobody likes me. Well, yeah, you created that with your statements. So what I want to talk about is how I can challenge you, and you should challenge yourself to name a specific version of yourself that's maybe keeping you stuck without knowing it. Because here's the truth. If you can't name it, that means you can't focus on it. You can't kill it. You can't end that perception of yourself. You can't end that spot you're operating. You can't get rid of the fences that are walling you into a life you don't want to live in the first place. You're living a story that you keep stating with your words and living with your actions. So the idea is, how can you step out of this and go, well, what are the thing that I'm saying? Like maybe you're telling yourself, I don't post things like that. I don't say things like that. I don't meet with people like that. I don't engage with people that do those things. Or, I've never been the person to blank. Whatever that thing is, I want you to actually stop and breathe back and go, do I say this? And then if you say that, question, what if I was able to do that? What could that bring to my life? If you want to get a promotion, but you say, I'm not the kind of person, I don't take courses like that. I'm not a school person. I don't like being in class. Okay, great. Well, if you don't take the education seriously, you don't get the ability to level up in your career, which means you're stuck where you're at because you've said something and you're living in a way to make that right. If you want to live freedom of having a business and not being, wconfined in what you may say confined to a 9 to 5, no matter what it be. If you tell yourself, well, I don't want to be salesy. Well, I mean, you won't sell anything. So if you don't sell anything, you can't actually create income that creates the freedom and the impact you want. These little things that most of us don't even notice, right? But those are the actual moments where you actually find yourself hindering yourself. I noticed years ago I would get into situations with high-level humans, and I would say things out loud early on, and they'd all look at me funny. What I didn't realize was the looking at me funny was the fact that it didn't compute for them. The language I was stating was victim or small-mindedness. And so when I started to notice how they thought or how they framed their language, it was very clear that none of those people operated in that comfort zone with language. In fact, they noticed it, tore the wall down, and climbed past it because they knew their dreams existed beyond those fences. So for you, I want you to start thinking about how can you write down, let's say it's for your first daybook entry, write down what is the version of yourself, name it, that you say. What are the things you say? And I want you to be specific about words that you might say out loud that are like, I don't do X. I've never blank. I don't know how to. I don't want to. Whatever those things are, write them in the daybook. And then I want you the other side, like whatever that statement is, go, what if I said to myself, I do take learning seriously. I do film videos. I do post content. I do share ideas. I do want to make money. Right? What are these? Put on the opposite side. What is the thing you do? And I want you to start thinking about how can I state that out loud and live with that. Once you make the entry, I'd love for you to put that entry into the community. At the end of the day, it's your life. You get to choose what you change and choose what you don't change. But I promise you, the first card of all of these things is to name your comfort zone. If this episode stirred something in you, good. That means there's work to be done. Don't ignore it, because listening is just the beginning. Because real change happens when you engage and you commit. So I invite you to join the Dark Work community inside the Dark Work app, which is where you communicate with amazing people on the same journey as you. You can find it on the App Store and the Google Play Store right now. Step into the conversations that sharpen your habits, strengthen your identity, and keep you locked in to the Dark Work.